So, you like Bill? I guess he's okay. Today, the topic is enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is intense and eager enjoyment, interest, or approval, strong feeling of excitement. It's a feeling of energetic interest in a particular thing, subject, or activity, and an eagerness to be involved in it. Enthusiasm comes from the Greek word enthusiasm, from ethos, meaning possessed by God and inspired. I'm not possessed by God, but I am inspired. Are you inspired? Are you? Are you? Are you? Are you? So, who might these two characters be? Who are they? Tigger and Eeyore. Well, yes, Tigger and Eeyore. These two characters I am using because they are the extreme ends of enthusiasm. So you have Eeyore, who's depressed, who's down, who has no life, doesn't really have any energy. And then you have Tigger, who's full of life and enthusiasm and jumping all over the place and energetic and ready to run and go and so up, right? So you have these two extremes. Now, for you, have you ever experienced in your life any time of depressed feeling? Have you had an Eeyore moment or two or a day? Have you ever had something that was so exciting that you were bouncing off the walls? Yeah? Come on, think about it. Yeah, Bill Brooks. So, we all have experienced low Eeyore times and those high Tigger times. Now, most of you know that we've been studying one of the 12 powers that co-founder Charles Fillmore, he saw the Bible as a metaphysical story where every person, place, and situation has a characteristic that we all have. It's actually, the Bible isn't a story about anybody but ourselves, and to be able to see ourselves in that story is a very interesting way to read the Bible. We all have a Christ self. And when he was studying the 12 disciples, he saw that they all had a characteristic. He calls them powers or abilities. I believe that they're all states of consciousness. Everything is consciousness. And what I'm doing is every month I'm sharing one of these 12 powers, abilities, levels of consciousness, because we use these all the time. We just don't know what they are or how to employ them in a positive way, because you can use any of the powers, like fire. You can burn something like your hand, or you can light up the world with a candle. So it's how we use the powers. So there is a book that, how many of you have this book? Okay, a few. All right, a few more. This is a book that will give you an in-depth study of these 12 powers. I'll be covering this all this year, so why not have a book and be able to read along each month on a different power? And it's called Divine Audacity by Linda Martello Whitsett. And this book, she takes each of the powers and she breaks them down into 3 components. So she looks at this particular power in 3 ways. So can anybody guess what the power that we're going to be focusing on in July is? Zeal. You got it, zeal. Now, zeal's not a word I use. Anybody use the word zeal in your everyday? So I thought, that's a good study. But she breaks it down into 3 components. The first one being audacity, having audacity. We'll be looking at that on one of these July week Sundays. Devotion is another. And the third one that we're going to talk about today is enthusiasm. Big surprise. So she says, zeal is enthusiasm. It is our eagerness for life, our interest in and optimism about our intentions and our plans. Zeal is pretty noticeable. People who live at high levels of zeal are often described as energetic and bright and exuberant. Right? Yes? Say yes. Okay. We're going to be doing the say yes today. So we're all born with this incredible amount of energy. Children, you look at little kids, they got filled with zeal? They got more energy than anyone. They're curious, they're running about, they're into everything. They have endless energy, it seems, and I always want to bottle it up and have some, right? Anyone with me? Say yes. Yes. Yeah, we're going to say yes today. Thanks, Bill. So kids, we got that energy. When I was on my family reunion, I have a 4-year-old. Oh, my God. Alida. Man, she never stops. She was just a zoomer. I mean, she was still up at 10 o'clock. She's ready to rock and roll. That kid never stopped. She's got enthusiasm. She's got zeal. She's so full of zeal that, she's got that Tigger energy. She's got Tigger energy. Speaking of Tigger, how many of you remember the Tigger song? A few of you? Well, refresh. The wonderful thing about Tiggers is Tiggers are wonderful things. Their tops are made out of rubber. Their bottoms are made out of springs. They're bouncy, trouncy, flouncy, bouncy, fun, 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 fun. But the wonderful thing about Tiggers is I'm the only one. Tiggers are cuddly fellows. Tiggers are awfully sweet. Everyone else is jealous. That's why I repeat. The wonderful thing about Tiggers is Tiggers are marvelous chaps. They're filled with vim and vigor. They love to leap in your laps. They're jumpy, bumpy, clumpy, bumpy, fun, 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 fun. But the wonderful thing about Tiggers is I'm the only one. There you go. We got song and dance today. You didn't know what you signed up for today. So the question is, we all have that child inside. What happened to the zealous, the zeal-filled, enthusiastic little kid that you were and that you have still inside of you? One word. What happened? Life. Life happened. Life, there's loss, there's breakups, there's death, there's wars, there's political unrest, there's racial discrimination, there's stuff in the world. Climate change, breakups in relationships, breakdowns. We have all these things going on in our world, violence, and that's just the outer world, right? Then we have our inner demons. We have our inner wars and conflicts. We have our fears. We have our doubts. We have our worries. We have what other people are saying. right? And saying things like, well, you can't do that. You can't have that. What are you doing? You can't make money doing that. You can't have that. You're not smart enough. You're not talented enough. We get all this verbiage, and it messes up that little kid that we all were and still have within us. So we've got all this turmoil within us. And all of this adding to this world turns our little Tiggers into Eeyores. It's hard to stay up, yes? Say yes. It's hard to stay up when there's so many heavy things. And so here's a quote for you. I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm, and I spring forth with a mighty faith to do what mine is to do. I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm, and a mighty faith to do what's mine to do. Whose quote is that?
Charles Fillmore.
Charles Fillmore. How old was Charles when he said this quote? 90-something, 94. Okay, he's 94 years old and he's sizzling, okay? How many of you are sizzling with zeal and enthusiasm? Okay, awesome. 100% of the time? Good, well, say yes. So what happens to our sizzle? It starts to fizzle. Are you fizzled? Are you sizzling? Would you like to increase your fizzle to a sizzle? Say yes. Got it. So would you like to know how to turn your heat up to turn that fizzle into sizzle? Say yes. What was that? Yes. Good, because we're going to go there. However, before we turn up the heat on your fizzle, my question is enthusiasm only associated with the super outgoing and energetic like Tigger, or is there a deeper depiction and perhaps more for those introverts that aren't going to jump all over the stage? So enthusiasm is actually more than showing energy and exuberance. Enthusiasm might be also expressed as a passion. You have a passion for something, maybe a project or a cause. And I think that Winnie the Pooh had a passion. What was Winnie the Pooh's passion? Honey. Say honey. So he has a different level expression of enthusiasm, right? Yes. So he's very different from Tigger, but he still has enthusiasm. So who was here last Sunday? Yeah, a lot of you. Good job coming back. So last Sunday, the talk was about true freedom and how we could navigate a world that we don't feel maybe so free in and feel like we're fighting things in the world and in ourselves. And so I gave an acronym for 4 steps in how we can experience true freedom. I'm going to give you a quick overview and a quiz at the same time, right? So the acronym is FREE. And so what does the F stand for? Focus. Focusing on what? What's the matter? What's the issue? What's the challenge? What would you like to have different? It's focusing on it. And then the other F is what you need to feel. Feeling it. And I talked about how it's important to really focus on the thing at the beginning of where you are and what's disturbing to you, so that we can go to the R. And the R has two R's. The first one is release. And what's the second one? Very good. We got. See, good quiz. You didn't know you were getting quizzed today, but that's okay because it's good to hear it again. So and I suggest writing down what it is your issue, because you did this last week. Write it down. What's the problem? Where do you not feel free? And then when you go to release, cross it out. And then replace. Write in what you would love to experience and have instead. You write that down, okay? Because you've got to replace the thing that you're letting go of. Now we go to the first E. What is the first E? There was a couple of E's. Engage, perfect. And I would say also envision, to engage it. So once you've written it down, is it really going to make any difference? Probably not. But when you engage with that vision on a regular, and you envision it, and you also feel it, it shifts things. Shifting here shifts the outer world. And the second E, anybody remember the second? Energize. Energize. And there's another E. Well, she's energized. You energize and you expand on that good. And what I asked you to do is to write 5 things every day that are good. Because we can focus on the bad. We get it all the time in the news and everywhere else. And it's like, no, I'm shifting my consciousness. I can take over. I can declare there is good here and not get sucked up into the negativity and the violence and the crazy things that are happening. I have choice. So how many of you did this practice this last week? Okay, 1 person. 2. 2. You know, the choice is yours. You can do what you always do. And, you know, Dr. Phil's going, how's that working for you? But, you know, I want to give you tools to use. Now, Sandy Decker, I'm going to invite up because she is going to share, and Sandy's birthday is today, so let's all say, this happy birthday, Sandy. So she's going to share her practice.
So I actually did this practice, and so this is what I come up with. I am envisioning it's November 6th, and I am dancing around, and I am saying, yay, yay, yay. We have saved our democracy. We have equality for all. We are remembering to protect our environment. We have equity. And our legislature is supporting these ideas, and I am so grateful. So I invite you to envision in the morning, like she says, expand what you want to have happen. When those little worries come up, I remember this, like I'm dancing. I also suggest, I share this with a friend. She wrote them down. She said, this is really good. I'm going to do this. Just this morning, I got a birthday call from a friend in Nebraska. I also shared it with her. And she was talking about she's worried. And I said, well, I'm doing this. And she said, that is a great idea. So it not only for yourself, but tell others. Help others switch their thinking and visualize what we really want to save our imperfect democracy.
Say yes. Yes. I was so impressed when Sandy shared that with me. So, we stick together. We do practices. We share it with others. This is the way to change things up. And can we truly choose to be enthusiastic, though? Yes, yes. Can we truly choose to be enthusiastic, or are there external influences that have an impact on how we feel and react? The choice is ours. Yes, there will be external influences which have an impact and sometimes can dampen our spirits and influence us on some way. But we still have control to change a negative state to a positive one. Enthusiasm breeds enthusiasm. People want to be around uplifting, positive people with the can-do energy. It's probably why you come here, right? Say, what was that? Say yes. Enthusiasm is attractive and it's infectious. So enthusiasm is infectious. It is contagious. And today's talk title was, Can You Catch It? Say yes. Excellent. Now, I do have one caveat. I want you to understand that enthusiasm does not mean expressing a false positive attitude. Okay? It is not about whitewashing. If you are feeling your feelings, feel your feelings. But you don't want to set up your tent and your camp there, right? So be with the feelings, honor them. They're saying something to you. There's a book that I just started reading, When Fear Speaks, Listen. I may be using that for our Adventures in Faith. We'll see what Spirit's got. So enthusiasm means expressing a sincere satisfaction in giving our best while having the best possible attitude. So are you ready to turn up the heat on your fizzle and turn it into sizzle? Yes. Yes. So I said turn up the heat. So yeah, of course it's an acronym. Would Liz not have one? So H in heat. Have a passion. Pooh had a passion. Tigger had a passion. He was energetic. His passion was everything and bouncing around. So have a passion. Have something that lights you up. What lights you up? If you don't know, focus on it. Think about it. What is it that has lit me up in the past? What gives me energy? What makes me smile? Because we can listen to and see social media and news and everything else, but the choice is ours. So you want to have a passion. Next is your E, and it's called eliminate. And some of this will correspond with the free, but we want to eliminate the negative thinking because it gets in the way. It's going to come up, and you can say, cancel, cancel. What can I think about instead? Trust me, I do this, okay? When I have a negative thing and I'm seeing that I'm on it, I'm like, no. What can I think about instead? I want you to all say that. What can I think about instead? And I can think about someone or something else. So this is what? A remote. You have a remote control. Invisible, but you can change your channel of your mind. You can change CNN, constant negative news, to the Discovery Channel, to the Dancing with the Stars. You have choice. Get your invisible remote and everybody just do this. Just pretend you have one. Yeah. And I'm switching the channel. Switch it. We have that power. So we are having a passion, eliminating the negative, and then we're going to the A. And that's when we're affirming the good. Affirm that good. And the other A to go with it is to act. Take some action on your passion. Take some action, something that makes you feel good. Right? You got to engage your body. Sandy danced. She's already in November 6th. She's not waiting for November 6th to have a party, okay? When I started prayer practitioner studies with Centers for Spiritual Living, we had our introduction, and they were telling us we had 30 weeks the first year and 30 weeks the next year. And I was like, I don't want to wait to have the party. So I actually said, I'm going to feel like I got through all of those hoops and got my license and la, la, la. Because we have choice. What if you celebrated before the thing happened that you want to have happen? That's energy. That's what you have some control over. So you got your passion. You have a passion. You are eliminating, you're acting and affirming. And the last part is trust. The T is for trust. You want to be trusting that Spirit, listen to this, Spirit is working things out better than you can imagine. Spirit is working things out better than you can imagine. Also, Spirit is far greater, Spirit within us is far greater than any situation, any condition, any person, any fear, any worry. Spirit is bigger. Now, some of you know I have an acronym that Spirit gave me for trust, and that is to rely upon Spirit totally. To rely upon Spirit totally. That is the definition, that is the acronym for trust. Now, that you can go, that's wow, that's pretty awesome. In fact, when Spirit gave it to me, immediately when I wondered, I was like, I didn't even get to think about it. Spirit goes, no, that's an upload, not a download, because Spirit's in here. How do you get to that state of trusting the divine? I can give you this. I had this mantra. God is my source in who I am trusting. God is my source in whom I do trust. God is my source in who I am trusting. God is my source in whom I do trust. Let's say that together. God is my source in who I am trusting. God is my source in who I do trust. So there's two aspects. You're trusting, which is a verb, a movement, and do trust is saying, this is a fact, I do trust. You say that over and over and over, it starts to become a new groove in your mind and in your experience. So, I believe it's time to turn up the inner heat of our consciousness, to switch our consciousness from the fizzle to the sizzle consciousness, to move from the Eeyore consciousness to the Tigger or Pooh consciousness. Let us turn up the heat of our consciousness by shifting the depressed, negative Eeyore consciousness to our inner Tigger consciousness, who always looks on the bright side of life. And so it is.